Welcome back to Chukitable Media. In the news this week, there is a story about PDP and APC being terrorist organization as declared by Canada, the country Canada. I have been researching, I've been trying to look around to see what actually is the reason behind the pronouncement or the declaration of Canada that the two prominent political parties in Nigeria are now called a terrorist organization. Number one, what should they call them terrorist organization? What did they do to deserve to be called a terrorist organization? What are the facts gathered by this country? Not minding any other, diplomacy, not minding any other relationship that this country uh, have with each other before this declaration. Many media houses have been talking about this, and I've seen video whereby interview was granted to some elder statesmen in Nigeria talking about this pronouncement, which actually is not very palatable for them to listen to. And my findings shows to me that Canada didn't exactly declare APC and PDP terrorist organization, but rather a Canadian court ruled that these parties can be considered terrorist organization under Canadian immigration law due to their involvement in violence and subversion of democracy. You understand now. It is actually not the country, but the immigration law in that country is the one that declared them a terrorist organization because of these reasons. Their involvement in violence and subversion of democracy. We all can bear witness that it is true that these two political parties are the chief or the kingpin of violence in the country. If you dial back to all the previous elections organized by INEC and these political parties, you will notice and you will know, and you be my witness that these two political parties use violence a lot. They beat voters. They ask their party members or their thugs to whip people onto line in order to have their vote. They beat them. There was an occasion during the last presidential election whereby a lady's eye was about to be plucked out. And they have their hangers on, like MC Oluomo and all the rest that I cannot really mention their name right now, intimidating people, even talking on the media, saying that if a certain part of the country, a certain tribe in the country did not vote for their party, they should leave Lagos State. And many more like that. And there was an occasion whereby cane was bought in large numbers, and they gave the canes to their hangers on to keep whipping people, to keep beating people that refuse to vote for their own political party. So, and this action is definitely the one that led to subversion of democracy, because if you force people to vote for your party and you did not allow them to vote their conscience, it is automatically a subversion of democracy. There are also occasions whereby you will see that ballot boxes were snatched or been snatched away, and they also use money to buy vote. You know, these are part of the thing that I see that actually made this uh, Canada court to declare these two political parties as a terrorist organization. But how did they get to this point? And here is what led to that ruling. Uh, a Nigerian politician named Douglas Egareva applied for asylum in Canada but was denied due to his membership in both political parties, APC and PDP. You know, these guys move from one of those parties to each other. They cross-carpeted the way they like, and that is why it belonged to those two political parties. Either together at the same time or maybe at different times. I don't know. So the court now found that his affiliation with these parties made him inadmissible under Canadian immigration and refugee protection. That is another question that I want you to answer. What made this man, a politician of Nigeria, to run to Canada and start to seek for asylum? Is that all right? He wants to go to Canada and seek asylum while his own country is in total mess. I mean, they are in power. The PDP was previously in power. Now APC is there now, and he was a member of these political parties. That means he actually is part of the problem that we're having right there in Nigeria. Because how could a politician now travel all the way from Nigeria to Canada asking for asylum? We should ask him very well what is pursuing him, what is after him, and why is he running away? Why did he want to use Canada as a base, for his own protection? I mean, he should definitely use protection in Nigeria if everything were to be okay. So, talking about violence, the court cited extensive documentation of voters' intimidation, ballot box snatching, killing of opposition supporters, and other forms of electoral violence carried out by party members and loyalists. So the Justice Puhongo ruled that PDP and APC had engaged in terrorism and subversion of democracy, meeting Canada's legal standard for excluding individuals affiliated with these two political parties. So the implication for this is that Canada has officially designated APC and PDP as terrorist organization globally, but rather it is a specific application of Canadian immigration law. The decision has sparked a reaction from both political party APC and PDP dismissing the ruling. And it is also worth noting that both APC and PDP have strongly condemned the Canadian court ruling, disputing its validity and implications. Now, I want to show you or play for you a video of an interview of one of so-called elder statesmen in Nigeria, and you'll be surprised what is coming out from his mouth. These old people that you expect to stand firm, you expect to stand on the side of justice, are the ones that are not really doing equity. They are not doing justice to what is going on in Nigeria. I want you to listen to the interview, and you can also be the judge. After listening, put your comment down there in the comment section and let me know what you feel about this story.
Federal Court of Canada recently upheld a ruling that classified Nigeria's political parties, APC and PDP, as terrorist organizations, while denying asylum to a former member, Douglas Egareva, over his decades-long affiliation with both parties. Now, in a judgment delivered on the 17th of June, 2025, Justice Fuong Ungo dismissed this man's application for judicial review after the Immigration Appeal Division, IAD, found him inadmissible under Canada's Immigration and Refugee Protection Act, IRPA. Now, according to the People's Gazette, the Ministry of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness had argued that the APC and PDP were implicated in political violence, subversion of democracy, and electoral bloodshed in Nigeria. All for more on this, Arise News analyst Dasha Wali joins us now. Thank you so much for joining us on the show this afternoon. I find this really interesting. And just to clarify that the legal basis for this is the Immigration and Refugee Protections Act, Canada's main statute governing immigration, refugee protection, and border enforcement. And they're saying that based off of activities within Nigeria, the APC and PDP should be considered terrorist organizations. What is your take on this?
A lot of nonsense. It's crass nonsense. Just because you don't want one single Nigerian to enter your country, you don't delegitimize the whole political system. I don't buy it. At first, when I first saw it from afar, I thought it was misinformation. But you see, it's well documented. It's on immigration. But you can't, because when the Gareba wants to enter Canada by all means, then you denigrate the whole of Nigeria. It is not on. The Canadian court has no locus, get me, to say that sort of thing. Yesterday we were discussing a topic, a conference going on now, which government said that we need to make steel. That lack of having steel is a sovereignty threat. I said that was a misnomer. It should have been a security threat. Now this is a sovereignty threat.
Yes.
It is a sovereignty threat. And since it is so well documented, it's not something to be dismissed lightly. The Nigeria embassy, the Nigerian Foreign Affairs must get in touch with the embassy to make some explanation. And so, if possible, the Attorney General can even intervene to tell them that we don't make sweeping statements on a country's political system just because of a particular case. You see, it is a fallacy of generalization. You see, I'm not saying that what they have said there is not true, but that is not for me to discuss.
Yes.
First and foremost, I'm reacting as a Nigerian, and I feel bad about it.
You know,
it is in bad taste.
It is. You said Canada doesn't have the locus to do this, but
Yes.
their immigration system allows for them to do what they've done: designation of an entity as a terrorist under regulations under the IRPA.
Entering Canada.
Exactly, and that is exactly what this man was trying to do.
Somebody entering Nigeria too, you can say that, but in writing a judgment of that caliber, you don't go and say that it is the political system that is at fault.
Do you think
it is a fallacy?
Do you think maybe this has a lot to do with how we've handled insecurity in Nigeria, considering that it remains a constant threat, you know, to living for a lot of Nigerians? Insecurity continues to persist.
Look, there's no way.
And the handling so far of it. Do you think maybe this is why other countries may now look at us as though we
you
are...
See, you are generalizing too. This Canada.
No, of course, this is just one country.
If you don't need this in the board now, the generalization can come in.
But why do you think this is happening? That's the question. Why do you think this is happening? Do you think there's a role we have played in making this happen?
That's what we should examine. There could be so many reasons. You know, a while ago, February, they denied visa to our Chief of Defense Staff, the whole Chief of Defense Staff. And then I think maybe they settled it amongst themselves. If they could do that, and then the rationale for that was that the prince, royal prince from England, came here before going to an event which we were invited to, and they felt slighted. That is that. But believe me, on a serious note, you can't reach the sort of conclusion that court has reached on the basis of one case in front of you. It is an affront to our sovereignty. We should take them up. We should take them up. Or else, you see, I don't even want to hazard a guess why they are doing it. Because maybe, you know, when we have elections, you bring in this observers from EU and all that. Maybe they gather some information. But that information is to be used within us here to make us improve our system. You get me? Not to cast our government and parties as terrorists. It's an insult to the sovereignty of Nigeria. I resent it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I want us to look within ourselves now, you know, looking at what they have said. You know, would you describe this as a reflection for genuine concern with regards to the Nigerian political system, especially as it pertains to voter apathy, violence during elections, ballot snatching, irregularities within results? Do you think this further highlights a genuine concern?
Look, it highlights it. It's over-expansive, but that you can discuss it amongst ourselves.
But they should not discuss it outside.
It's none of their business. And that's why I'm telling you,
Yeah.
If you're having elections, you should not invite strangers who have different values from our own to come and watch our election. See, we have our own political culture. There are some things they would have seen and misconceived, which are part and inherent in our own culture and political system. I say, I resent this. Governments will take it up. It is an overgeneralization, it's a fallacy, and it is an insult to our sovereignty and even to our judicial system. We don't do that. They have problems with India now. India, calling the Indians terrorists because a Sikh Indian was killed on their soil. They let them sort that out. This is an over-exaggeration.
All right.
Of the worst order.
You know,
the government will take them up.
They should. You spoke extensively about the Nigerian political culture. How would you describe it if you were to describe it?
I'm to describe it. You are not a stranger now.
No, of course. I would just like to know your thought because you said we should not bring in external people. They might not understand our culture. What is that culture?
All what they said there, intimidation, they happen. We know they happen.
And that's
but there's no
culture.
perfect political system. There's no perfect political system. And occasionally you have electoral violence. It happens. Even in the US right now, Trump did not believe Biden won the election. Biden too has lost anyway. So different political systems have their own problems. You see, we have serious problem with the integrity of our political process and system. That means, but it's not for one sole lawyer in Canada to dismiss our government because of that.
How serious do you think, in terms of the severity of this issue, how serious do you think our leaders need to take this decision?
Yes.
Especially as it pertains to bilateral relations as well.
To avert a spread of this sort of decision, because you never know. There could be some document somewhere which is invoking. You know what he has done? It's like what the European nations do to Russia when they sanction their families of their leaders. But this is a guy is not his mistake. We have given that he was a member of the political party, thinking that will enhance his status. And then they dragged him in the mud, saying the parties have been involved in brigandage and terrorism.
Yes, let's look at another side to it, which is, of course, the immigration.
Yes.
What I would call a lot of Nigerians, trying to seek asylum, visa applications. A lot of Nigerians actually trying to set up base in other parts of the country. Now, as we see a rise in a lot of these, we will often see conversations like this, where Canada designates our political parties as terrorists, where the US slams a 3-month single entry visa restriction on other countries, including Nigeria. What are your thoughts on this and how we can position ourselves better to have a better negotiating power, especially when it comes to these type of decisions being made?
Look, what I will say is that people have the right to want to leave Nigeria or go anywhere. But in the process of doing that, they should not tell lies against the conditions in Nigeria. You see, this is even a very good case. There are some people who travel abroad and who said they are being persecuted as homosexuals,
yes,
on gender basis. Whereas, there is no such panic in Nigeria. But in this particular instance, this man is trying to show them that he's a responsible man. He belongs to a political party. And then they just disgraced him and called him a terrorist, and this country a terrorist. It's an overgeneralization. It is a misrepresentation. And I presume maybe that judge has not been using AI to generate information, because AI can generate misinformation like this. I can't see how anybody. We have elections that are flawed. We know all these things that are there.
The substance of what they're saying, Mr. Daya, the substance of the issue, I understand when you say that this is an overreach, but the substance of what they're saying is...
I'm indignant. Let's put it that way.
Well, the substance of what they're saying is there is a lot of inconsistency and the insecurity persists, especially within our political space, and that is not a lie.
That is none of your business.
Got it.
It's interference in our internal affairs. It's the president of Canada.
Okay.
Even... just of recent, when they had Kani, a new prime minister, Tinubu congratulated him. But now to bring down the whole, he's describing our system as illegitimate.
Okay, Mr. Daya, thank you so much. Thank you so much for...
Kindly subscribe, share, and like. God bless you as you do, and see you next time. Bye-bye for now.